All right, mate. Yeah, so ETC, just looking at my other screen, Ethereum's up 1.4%, ETC's up 4.7%. So it definitely is seeing quite a bit of strength. And as you mentioned, it is a bull flag. Yeah, you got to run. Sorry for the late reply as well. I was really busy for a few hours there. But that's a 3-day. Yeah, honestly, it's really interesting. I was looking at it myself. And let me just start off and go back, flip out here to the yearly. Like, there is a good chance this could break up. Like I made a post, don't know, last month or whenever it was, saying that the bottom is in for Ethereum, or ETC. Sorry, the bottom is in here. This is a great pattern. But I was saying, you know, maybe this will go this year and move up, right? It could do. If it didn't, it would be fantastic, because it would be a very bullish pattern to consolidate for a year and create a doji candle like this. I would be a big buyer of ETC then, especially on a dip down, take liquidity down below on the wick and then move up. But so overall, I think the bottom's in for ETC. I think it's really good. I think eventually it'll move up here and go a lot higher. I like this. I was actually hoping that we would run stops on this. I seen this was down here earlier, so it's bounced about 2.5% since I looked at it earlier. I was hoping that this would run stops below here and then make the real move and then make a big move up. But you know, so that's the ideal situation. I posted in the group earlier that would be the ideal situation. I mean, if we maybe let's look back here. Here you can see here. Look at this. I suppose here this situation here, when you first break up above the red 200 moving average, you can see here that it failed. See the way it failed here. But note that we were look at the pinch in the moving averages here. Look how tightly these moving averages were coiled up, meaning that price can break below them easily, right? So this one is better because there's a wide space in the moving averages, and if you dip below it, there is a chance of getting back above it. So you can see this one here did actually do what I was talking about. It came down, stop hunted everything, even though that was a huge wick down, a real proper scam wick, and then it came back up and went. So the other thing is, you could see here there's a bull flag above it, and then we went from there as well. That's interesting. Now if we go back to today and try and kind of compare it, it's not an easy comparison. It's tough to say, right? It is tough to say, but we are consolidating above here. The moving averages are not pinched together yet. The worry, I suppose, would be if this continues to move up and this moves up and these go sideways and the price continues to chop, you need to be careful that it could flush through them and break down. Like if these moving averages pinch together here somewhere, for example, that's the bearish sort of view, but you always need to be worried or aware of it, is a better word. In the meantime, I totally get what you're looking at, and this looks, you know, it's got a lot of potential that it could move on. The yearly chart's green. We're green on the year. We've already dipped down, took in liquidity below. There's a lot of liquidity above in the yearly candle. The question is this going to run now, or is it going to run later? So let's look through a few time frames and see if we can find any clues. At this point, it is lower highs. You know, the whole way, whatever way, you know, you can kind of see there. High, lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high. We are above the moving averages though. It's definitely interesting that we're still above the moving averages. I think you were looking at the 3-day time frame, which is good. RSI is also kind of, you know, you can see this RSI here is way stronger than all of these RSIs back here. The last time we had an RSI kind of like that, let's look at it. I suppose you could say it was here, right? And it's a coincidence actually, because look at this. This was the point we were talking about earlier. This was the right in here. If I zoom into that, that's the point where the stop hunt. See this RSI right here, very similar to the RSI there, and that's where the stop hunt happened earlier when I talked about the scam wick. on a daily chart, this is a 3-day chart now, but this is the daily one that we got inside here, stop hunted. Let's go to a daily just so here's the daily here. So you can kind of see that's the first time we got above all moving averages, and the RSI was actually strong. If I flip back out to the 3-day here, we can kind of see where we're at. The RSI is strong, first time since back here, right? So that's interesting. As I posted in the chat earlier, it is still red on the 3-day, right? Very nice bounce here. The bounce is impressive. I didn't expect this much of a bounce. It's tough to say what sort of reaction coming into the merge. I don't think anybody knows really what sort of reaction. There is a lot of people saying that it can sell off and everything else. Like a lot of people are going to dump their Ethereum as soon as they get their new Ethereum. So that's an interesting thought as well. Is that going to dump the price or whatever? But it's still red here on the 3-day. It's still red on the week in that case. You can see here it's still red on the week. So as long as this is red on the week, there's no need to really FOMO. Yes, it would have been nice to buy today in the lows, but as long as it's red here, there's always the possibility and always that you might be able to get a safe entry on this if it's going to continue and trade that new weekly candle. If this flips green this week, well, I don't know if you want to FOMO on that. That would then be a 7 or 8% stop loss with a count below maybe the weekly candle or whatever. Trading a new week sometimes can get you on board. If it's going to run, you can get on board on the green candle. I like these moving averages. Like I like the overall structure here. The fact that we bounced down into the red 200 moving average after a long drop down into the red 200 moving average. It doesn't surprise me that this is getting a very nice bounce. If I go back to BTC, for example, and we go here, you can see here, look what happened here, the exact same thing. We got a long drop on a weekly chart back into the red 200 moving average, and what happened? Well, it held and price got that bounce, and once we got that bounce, it never really looked back. So if I go back here to Ethereum, you could say that this is fairly similar to Bitcoin in the fact that, obviously not similar, but we had the pump to 20,000. If you can look at that as the pump to 20,000, and we dropped back down, and then we created a bit of a bear pattern. You could call that the bear pattern, and we flushed down to the lows, and obviously we're getting the bounce now. Not an identical fractal, but there's similarities. There's very few coins that are green on the year, and Ethereum Classic is one of those. So yeah, overall, I like Ethereum Classic. I think it's got a bright future. It looks good on the yearly. At some point, price is going to come back up here into take liquidity up around here to $100 and all the rest. Is it going to be this year or next year? That's a difficult question, but I know it'll get up there at some point. So if you were to buy a spot here and say this failed and we got another dump and stop under the lows, and you added down here and you have a nice average somewhere down here, for example, I'm not saying that's what you're looking to do, but I'm just kind of giving scenarios, then at some point this should come back, and it's a very high probability that this will come back. The probability, it's a very good probability that the price should come back up here, right, at some point. The question is it coming there right now? In this bad market, can Bitcoin bottom? Can it withstand the merge and all the rest to push up here now? It's a difficult question, right? But I think at some point, but if you were to accumulate here or whatever, if it did drop, I think it's good in the fact that we'll come back up to take liquidity up here somewhere. If it dropped down to $20, I really truly think that it can go up here to $100 again. That's an easy 5x. It's just a matter of patience. And can it go a lot higher? It probably could go a lot higher. But I don't want to use the word sure bet. If this was down to $20, a sure bet that this should come back up at some point. I don't like using that word sure bet, but to me, in my mind, in the way I trade and what I've seen over the years, it looks like a bloody sure bet, but there is no certainties in the market. Something could happen and it could blow up or something, so you just never know. Stock market got a bad rejection yesterday. If the stock market keeps rolling over, then this is probably going to keep rolling over at some point. after the merge, Ethereum selling off. You know, there's a likelihood that you may get to buy this lower. This month here is very, very telling. And the worry here, right? The worry here is that this could be 3 rejections, right? If this sells off anymore, that's 3 tails there. There's a thing called 3-tail theory, and 3-tail theory is when you get 3 large tails together, it usually causes a sell-off. It usually causes a sell-off, sorry. So there's a worry there. So this needs to really prove itself this month and move higher. Otherwise, if it doesn't get that, then this is likely to drop. So the problem here, and why it's difficult to call as well, is you're dead center. You know, you're dead center. There's the top and there's the bottom. You can see where the price is. The price is right in the middle of the range. So it's very tricky when you buy in the middle of the range. It's safer bet is to buy when it flips green, of course. What if this did bounce to take liquidity in these previous wicks here, and then after the merge it sells off? You know, that's obviously the worry. So I can't believe this is 10 minutes video, 11 minutes video, but it's interesting. You know, I'm tempted to buy it, but I'm not going to buy this yet. If I was going to buy this, I would probably trade a new two weekly candle. But I just wanted to give you my thoughts on it. Like, here's another thing. This is a 2-week blueprint for success, right? It's a blueprint. So it kind of backs up my theory that, you know, at some point we will come back up here, wherever it comes back up to. But this is a blueprint for success pattern here. When you get the lead in, you get the big move up, you get the drop back to the white 100 moving average. Normally you chop about here, and then eventually wherever it happens, you know, you eventually get to move up, because the blueprint for success is a very powerful pattern. So again, it backs up my theory that at some point it'll get up here, but is it ready right now is a more tricky question coming into the merge. If the 2-week candle flips green here, maybe you'll consider getting on board. If it doesn't flip green, well, maybe you can just wait it out.